Hello and welcome to Get Real Football Experts, another schedule rundown edition coming to you today, and I am wrapping up my NFC videos today with the Arizona Cardinals, also finishing up the NFC East, or the NFC West, I mean. Last episode I did for the West, I did the Seattle Seahawks, had them finishing at, I believe, 11-5, and so now time for the Cardinals. Louis got the Rams, which will be up soon, if not already, so here we go. The Cardinals, they're an interesting team. Clearly everyone knows them for last year because of their quarterback situation. They had Ryan Lindley, John Skelton, and Kevin Cobb were the three quarterbacks who shared starts throughout last season. Clearly not very good. Cobb is now on the Buffalo Bills, fighting for a starting job with first quarterback drafted this year, E.J. Manuel. And I don't know where Skelton and Lindley have ended up, so I don't know. And the Cardinals have also brought in Rashard Mendenhall, a new running back. So we'll see how their season goes. And how about we start off the schedule week 1 at the Rams? I think this could be a win. I like the Rams this year. I've been saying that all along. But I think the Cardinals are going to have a fast start to this. Well, I can get this first win, but if Palmer's a definite upgrade over the other quarterbacks, but he's still no elite quarterback or anything good. I don't think the Cardinals are going anywhere this year, but I think they can beat the Rams definitely, at least in week 1. Week 2 against the Lions, I'm going to give a loss here to the Cardinals. I think that Matt Stafford, he had kind of an off year, and he can get back to the year he had before. Calvin Johnson clearly had a career year, but I still think that the Lions would definitely not play into the most potential they have. Now that they have Reggie Bush, it's another weapon for him. Even though they lost Titus Young, he wasn't that productive for him last year, so it shouldn't be that big of a loss. So I'm going to give the win here to the Lions, making the Cardinals 1-1. Week 3 at the Saints. I think another loss here to the Cardinals. Drew Brees is just too dynamic for the Cardinals to stop, so I just don't see that happening. I don't think that's going to happen, so I'm going to give the win here to the Saints. I mean, with Jimmy Graham and Marcus Colston and Lance Moore and Darren Sproles, all four players in 3 different positions, but all receiver or all catch passes. Those four are going to be super hard to stop alone. I mean, Jimmy Graham's the best pass catching tight end in the league. Darren Sproles is the best pass catching running back in the league, and then Marcus Colston and Lance Moore are two good, and I think a little underrated receiver. So that's gonna be hard to stop. I mean, Patrick Peterson can only stop Colston, and the other people that they're gonna have trouble with too. So a loss to the Cardinals after week 3, making them 1-2. Week 4 in Tampa Bay. I think this is gonna be another loss. I think they're gonna go on a 3-game losing streak. Josh Freeman's got to perform this year because it's his contract year. If not, they're going to put in Mike Glennon, most likely the quarterback. Tall, he's got a big arm. He's at NC State. The Bucks drafted him in the 4th round, or 3rd round this year, so he's ready to come in. He's knocking on the back door of Freeman, so that's going to put a lot of pressure on him. And they still have the rising star in Doug Martin, I think he's going to have a good year like last year, but I don't think he's going to be as productive. I think he had those 2 big games, and that's really what made him this good. I mean, from a fantasy standpoint, I might be a little iffy on him because of those 2 huge games. Besides those games, he was solid. I mean, I had him for my one league, and I can pull up his stats for right now. But I had him for one league, and for the beginning, before I traded him away, like a week or 2 before that happened. But so I still think that Martin's gonna have a productive year, but not as productive as last year. But I do like him. Don't get me wrong. And their defense has also improved. I mean, they got Deshaun Golson to go along with Mark Barron, who was their safeties, and they got clearly Darrelle Revis, which is huge for them. That should be a very big upgrade. So that's just that's going to be tough to stop. So I don't think that anyone can. I don't think that the Cardinals will be able to beat them. So last year, hold on. Where is it? I don't know, but my point is he had 2 very good games, and other than that, he really wasn't all that great. So here he is actually. All right, never mind. So moving on, week 5 against the Panthers. I think this is going to be a win for the Cardinals. They can just limit Cam Newton. That's all they really have to do. I mean, besides Cam and their Luke Kuechly and John Bees and their linebackers, there really is not too much. Their running backs with D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart, it just doesn't seem to work out. But yet the Panthers still go with them. I don't know why. I don't know what they see in them. But they just keep on keeping them in. I don't know why, but they just do. So that's interesting. And I just don't think that I think the Cardinals can pull this one out and bring them to 3-2. Week 6 at the 49ers. I'm actually gonna say another win here to the Cards, an upset win. Even though the 49ers are a Super Bowl contention team, I think this upset can happen. I mean, if everything happened as it should, the Ravens wouldn't have won the Super Bowl last year. So there's got to be upsets. So there's an upset, and there's another upset coming up the next week. Thursday Night Football, they play the Seahawks. I think they can win this one as well. I mean, with Russell Wilson is a great quarterback. I like him a lot. I think they're gonna go to the playoffs again, and they're a great team. I just don't. They're debatably the best defense in the league. Definitely top 3. So do the 49ers, but I think that the Cardinals are definitely capable of winning at least one game against them this year. So those two I don't think they'll be the same in week 16 and 17 when they play them again, but still, they're going to be good games to see. Week 8 against the Falcons, I got to give it a loss. I mean, with Julio Jones and Roddy White, that's going to be so hard for them to stop. Peterson can limit Julio Jones, but then Roddy White, if he tries to cover Roddy White, then boom, Julio Jones. So it's never going to stop, along with Tony Gonzalez there, who's going to also catch. And then Jacquizz Rodgers can catch. He's a running back out of the backfield. So can Steven Jackson. And now teams got to worry about Steven Jackson running all over him too. So I like what the Falcons have been doing. So that brings us to a week 9 bye. I think that's so at 4-4. I think it's all right. I don't think they're gonna continue to be 500 through the season, but we'll see how it all plays out. So week 10 against the Texans. I think this is gonna be a loss. The Texans are a very good team. They're my Super Bowl pick this year, and for some pretty good reasons. When do the number 1 team always win? I mean, they do occasionally, but they don't every year. Like I said, if there weren't upsets, then there wouldn't be the Ravens wouldn't be the Super Bowl winners last year, but they clearly are, and I think they just fit that team perfectly. Matt Schaub's he's a good quarterback, but he's not elite. He's not great, but he's definitely a lot better than guys like. I'd like him over Carson Palmer. I'd like him over Kevin Cobb. I'd like him over a lot of quarterbacks. I might even take him over like Jay Cutler or someone, but it's probably not actually. I like Jay Cutler just a little bit better, but they are good. My point is he's a pretty good quarterback. And then with the second best running back in the league in Arian Foster, that's also going to be tough to stop too. I mean, their defense is good. They got Brian Cushing coming back. They have J.J. Watt, so I think things are good. They have an underrated corner in Jonathan Joseph, who's very good. I like him a lot. And they have Ed Reed now, safety, so things look good there. They still have Andre Johnson, who's going to be very productive, like he was last year, even though he's getting old. And they drafted DeAndre Hopkins, so things look good for the Texans. Week 11 at the Jaguars. I'm going to say a win here. The Jaguars I mean, these two teams aren't the best. They were both top 10 picks last year in the draft, but the Jaguars aren't a very good team. I don't think they're going to have many wins, maybe 3, 4, 5. But so, I mean, even though Maurice Jones-Drew's coming back healthy, even when he was there, he couldn't get them that far. I like their young receivers and Cecil Shorts and Justin Blackman. But Blackman's suspended the first 4 games. He'll be back at this point. I mean, their quarterback situation, no team's ever going to win without a quarterback. What's the last year where a team won a Super Bowl without a good quarterback? I mean, Trent Dilfer you could argue for. I don't know. But it's still, you need a good quarterback if you want to win. So, speaking of good quarterback, week 12 against the Colts, Andrew Luck This one's home in Arizona. I think they can win this one. I like the Cardinals. I think they're kind of underrated. I think their record really said they broke down. I mean, they were 4-0. Their defense was the team. They were just the team to beat at that point. 4-0. But then they lost on Thursday Night Football to the Rams, and they lost a tough game to the Bills in overtime because Feely missed a short field goal to send it to OT. Jaybird picked it off, and it was good for Buffalo fans, not for Arizona, and it was just a slide from there. So they only finished like 5-11, 6-10, so something like that. Moving on, week 13 at Philadelphia. I think this is going to be another win. I don't know. It depends on who their starting quarterback is, really. But if it's a guy like Nick Foles, I think they can win. I don't know if you watched the Eagles Cardinals game last year, but the Cardinals D absolutely killed the Eagles. They had a couple picks, a touchdown. They made Vic look silly. It was just an absolute kill. I don't think it's going to happen again last year because they really had it was a very good game by them. But I mean, why not have another good win? I mean, there was a very impressive game, and their offense didn't really stand up that much. Their defense was really, and I like their defense. If their defense can get back to or do what they did at the beginning of last year, then they can win a lot of games, maybe even more than I have projected. And right now, after that Eagles win, I have them at 7-5. Wow, that's pretty impressive. So last year, when the Cardinals played the Eagles, the final score was they started off 4-0, and then they just slid. They lost. Wow, looking at their schedule now, they lost 5 in a row. Had their bye week, lost 4 more. Got a win. Yeah, 2-11. Wow, that's pathetic. But they won 27-6 on that against the Eagles. And if they can do it again, I can see it happening. Very good game by their defense. So going on now to week number 14 against the Rams. I had them beating them week 1. I don't think that's gonna happen week 14. I like the Rams this year. I think Sam Bradford's a bit underrated. I think he's gonna eventually come in and get a few playoff wins and stuff. I think if the Rams can just build around him, then he'll be good to go. I mean, he's kind of like Andy Dalton. I think he's better than Dalton, but Dalton's got AJ Green. He's got Tyler Eifert, Jermaine Gresham. He's got all these pieces around him that are going to make him better. And if Sam Bradford was there, had that, he could be better than Andy Dalton. I think he's got that much potential. So I'm gonna give the win there to the Rams, making the Cardinals 7-6. Week 15 at the Titans. I think this is gonna be a loss for them. For the Cardinals, I like the Titans this year. I think they can win a good amount of games, maybe squeeze into the playoffs. I mean, they weren't that far off from it last year. They had the 13th pick in the draft. 10th pick in the draft last year. So they looked alright last year, and I think they can find their way into the playoffs. I mean, Jake Lacker's not the best QB, and Ryan Fitzpatrick behind him, but like I said, not good. But with Chris Johnson as their running back and Sheldon Green, that's a pretty good tandem. And I like their up-and-coming defense, and their offensive line is so much stronger now. So I like what the Titans are doing. So I'm gonna have them beat the Cardinals. They're knocking the Cardinals back to 7-7. Week 16 at the Seahawks. I'm gonna say this is a loss for the Cardinals. The Seahawks are just such a good team. They're gonna be hot at this point. Like I said about Russell Wilson, he's good, but they still have Marshawn Lynch, who's probably the best power back in the league. They got Percy Harvin, who's a very versatile receiver. He can return, he can go into the slot, he can go outside, he can take rushes, screen passes, go deep, whatever you want him to do, he can do it. And I don't even want to start talking about their defense. They have one of the best defenses in the league, like I've already mentioned. And speaking of one of the best defenses in the league, Week 17 against the 49ers, I think this is going to be a loss for the Cardinals, finishing them off 7-9. With their front seven is just so powerful. They have Justin Smith on that line, and then their outside linebackers, Alden Smith and who is that? I think it's like on their outside they have Brooks, and then Aaron Brooks, I think his name is, and then and on the inside they have Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman. So it's a very good front seven. Not to mention their secondary is also very good. Now that they have Nnamdi Asomugha, who they just signed during this offseason, so looking good. I like how they're doing it down there. Their offense is good too. I mean, they're very explosive with Colin Kaepernick. Frank Gore's getting old, but he's still very good. They also got Eric Reed now from the draft, so that's gonna be good. I just like what they're doing, and what I was saying about it's Ahmad Brooks. That's what I was saying. It was either that or Aaron. Good thing I checked that. So that'll finish it off at 7-9 for the Cardinals. That's not going to be a playoff appearance. So that'll do it for this edition of Schedule Rundown Arizona Cardinals edition. Get Real Football Experts. Be sure to listen to our latest podcast. Go to getrealfootball.com. On the side, it'll say the Football Experts. Click on that, and we might be changing that. It might just start becoming an article and become on the homepage. So that's also good. So just check that out, and while you're there, read all the articles, read my articles, read my partner Louis DB's articles, and if you want Bill's articles, go to realbillsnow.blogspot.com. Me and Brendan Harrington are rocking that blog now. It's a lot of fun. We just started it a few days ago, so check that out, and for now, I think we're done here. I will see you next time for the Bengals video.